What's up guys, Jivan back with another video, and today we're VOD reviewing your Duo Cash Cups. If you don't know about this channel, usually once a week I'll post in my community tab on YouTube saying the type of community VOD review we're going to be doing. Then you guys can submit clips with questions and I'll watch them back just like I'm going to do in this video. Don't forget to use code JivanTV if you've been liking the content. Without further ado, let's hop into it. First up today, we're checking out F4. He was wondering how he could have helped his teammate or just overall played better in this situation. So I think the biggest issue when I watch back this endgame is the lair choice. You have 0 mats, your teammate had a decent amount, but he burns through all of them because you're on an upper lair. When you're getting low on mats and duos, I would really say either try to get into somebody's tarp, try to make a play on somebody on your lair, or try to get down to low ground while you still have mats, enough mats so that you can make plays on the people that are down there. Also, to conserve those mats a little bit more, I don't know if your teammate had grapple, but you could have played that earlier. I'm assuming he didn't have grapple, but you guys could have been looking for some sprint rotates as well, and then maybe you could have cut off some people and made a play that way. But because you're on an upper layer, usually you have to full tarp a little bit more because height's going to be spraying at you if you're not. That's my 2 cents for that endgame. So Hexa was saying that this happens a lot. He gets snuck up on and jumped while he's distracted farming or leaving a building. How can he stop doing that? I feel like there's really no good answer for this, honestly. I'd say the best answer is block all the entrances to the building, and then before you leave, peek out of a base up top. If this really happens to you that often, take the extra precaution and peek around before you leave the building. So Mala sent in a solo clutch, and the only thing he really said about this whole clip is that he thinks he's risking too much with his sprints. So let's check out his sprints. So this is sketch as heck, bro. I'm not gonna lie, this is a stacker and you're sliding straight down the center of the zone. Since you're above on surge, maybe you should be scouting behind you while sliding, because you can keep your momentum forward while sliding, even if you're looking backwards. So you could scout behind you and build walls if there's people following you. I like the dropping lair sprints here. This was fine. The odds of you getting pumped there are pretty slim, I'm not gonna lie, and sprinting is so useful for saving mats, so this was definitely worth. Right here, the sprint to get on the right side of the zone was so good. This was perfect. Tanking a little bit of storm to get that good positioning, definitely worth. But right here, you tarp a lot. You tarp like 400 mats away, or 300. It honestly might have been worth to look for another sprint rotate or follow that tarp above you. Just my 2 cents on how to save mats there. From this tarp, he looks for a refresh and gets one, and this refresh had like max mats and a grapple. Crazy. Then for a while, he just plays the grapple and plays his mats. One thing is, you had max wood here. I would have tried to use a little bit of that wood earlier on in the rotates. Like, use the wood to tarp, and then when you're actually ending your tarp and basing up, that's when you switch to your metal. That's something that Cease told me I need to work on, so I'm just passing along that information to you. Now, the issue at the end of the game was when you grapple here from the storm, you build up layers and you put yourself between height and low ground, which I think you know that, and that just full grief to you, but that was a crazy clutch. So Zexity was in a top 50 lobby here, and he was wondering if I had any insights on maybe why he didn't win this game. So from first look, like this whole endgame, you were pretty much out of mats, like from the part of the video where you sent it to me. So there might have been something you could have done earlier on in the game to have more mats, but I don't know, because this is all I can see. You guys frag out low ground really well, and you just are full claiming everything on low, killing all the solos that are dropping around you. It's perfect. So let's just skip to the very end where you're in a 2v2 with height. So right here, you guys are really good on mats and you're getting healthy, which is perfect. You want to be as healthy as possible in that last fight. But you guys got to recognize that you don't have any heal off potential. Knowing that the first priority as soon as you're healthy should be get pressure on them. You need to full pressure them as soon as possible. You guys used your mats and let it kind of draw out to the very end of the game, kind of like gambling the fact that they might not have heal off potential, but it's high ground. They haven't had anybody really contesting them in a while because you have just been killing everybody on low ground. So really it's just about opening up an angle, double spraying height, and trying to get a beam on them, and then you could have even potentially cranked up if you get a crack because you both had pretty good mats. GG's though, second is crazy for a top 50 lobby. Let's go. So for the next one, this is his first Duo Cash Cup, and he's wondering what I would have done in this endgame. So I'm just going to watch it back live and talk about the different things I would do if I was in his shoes. So at this point in time, zone's getting pretty close to your back, so I would make sure I'm scouting ahead to know where I'm going to rotate to next. I don't know if you're the IGL or if your teammate is, but just make sure you're looking ahead instead of doing a spontaneous sprint down the center. It's typically best to try to aim for a side of the zone so that you're not rotating straight down the center, because if you're on the side, you have less danger on less sides of you. You usually only have to block off like your back or your front or one of your sides, rather than every direction. Now the biggest thing here is that you need to be looking ahead and see that a mountain is coming up. That way you can start to build up earlier. Your teammate went down because you had a really scuffed rotate up a mountain, but if you would have looked ahead ahead a little bit sooner and saw that, then you might have been able to just ramp tarp up and your teammate could have followed safely behind. But then once he was back in the lobby, he did this, which actually boosted him up the leaderboard to first place. I don't know if you knew that. Secret cheat codes. Ox was wondering how he could have saved his teammate in this situation. The important thing to recognize is that he was being pushed from one direction, so as soon as you see his teammate pushing from the other direction, you need to calm that and get on that guy. You need to make sure that he's not going to push in from the other side. As soon as he gets pinched there, it's just over for him. But my man still manages to 1v2 clutch, so props to you, bro. So in this clip, he was wondering if he should have told his teammate to go like he did, or if he should have told his teammate to stick with him. And this is one of the reasons I don't like the grapple, because if you don't have two, it's like, what do you do? I'd say it's fine if he goes, but in this situation, like, he didn't really need to. I would say like the only time I would tell my teammate to grapple without me would be as if we're in a really bad spot. You guys weren't in that bad of a spot here. Honestly, you probably could have survived too if you would have just not ran down the center, but instead gone around his side. So Katie was wondering what to do because they died 4 out of the 5 first games in the tourney just from being third-partied after finishing an off-spawn fight. So my advice to you is, for one, try not to get caught in the center of a POI. That's like being in the center of moving zones, you know? People have eyesights from all around you. If there's people north side, east side, west side, south side, they all can see you and are usually gonna converge to the center to third party a fight. The other thing is, make sure you scout around your location before taking a fight. If you know that there's 2 teams there, don't be the first ones to fight typically, unless you can get a massive fry and end that fight fast. In this situation, like, you guys got third-partied, but it wasn't like they were full on you when they third-partied. Like, you probably could have made some boxes and just fought them. I think the thing that set you off in this fight was the fact that you tried to run away. It's okay to disengage from a fight, but in this situation, you disengaged and just kind of started looting. Stay aware of what that team was doing. I actually don't know if it was the same team, but yeah, just make sure you're scouting around you at all times. Lemaine was basically just wondering how he could have rotated differently and gotten a refresh here. So right here, you cut back towards the right to kind of go towards center zone. If you look here, you can see that if you would have gone up and to the left over these builds, it probably would have been pretty free. Instead, you cut back into the congestion towards the center, so that was no good. Eventually you make it into the zone, but you're kind of center at this point, and you're one of the last people to get in because you were kind of fighting people along the way in the first move-in. So because you were one of the last people rotating in, you got looked at from below and sprayed down here. It's all good, you guys get recouped and you're ready to go for the next rotate. But this is the thing, you start trying to look for kills ahead of you from the back edge of zone. You probably should have sprinted to the front edge, made a box, and then looked around you. It's okay to spray ahead, but you were really opened up here, which is why you got pumped. So the main thing is, try to stay ahead, try to avoid going to the center of the zone and being in that congestion. And then the last thing is just don't be afraid to get some elevation so you can scout ahead of you a little bit better, especially in that first zone rotate. So Lava Eagle was wondering why he got focused so hard when he was trying to run right here. And the reason is because, first of all, you created a tarp, you're on the back edge of zone, zone's closing in behind you. If anybody saw you tarping there and sees those builds building, they know you're still in there, and so there's good chances that you're going to be looked at, especially since you're elevated too. A lot of people can see you stuck on the back edge of zone. The way around this is, even if you're in that position, just make sure you scout out your cone before going for that sprint. If you see somebody opened up in your direction like that team was down below, then just create a few more tarps and break line of sight with them. Maybe tarp to the right so that they can't see you anymore. That's all the time I got for VOD reviewing today. If you want to be in the next one, stay tuned in the community tab of my YouTube or join up in my Discord. I post the submission forms to both of those. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.